Good morning. My name is Jay, and I am coming to you from North Scottsdale. Sunday morning out here on the West Coast in the United States. If you come in from overseas, good evening. Coming up close to midnight for some of you on the international side. While I'm waiting for some people to jump on, it's a busy Sunday morning. There's all kinds of messages and coaching sessions going on. If you are in church or synagogue or online, getting coached, listening to other mentors and teachers. Hope you're hearing what you came to hear. Good morning to those of you that joined me on the United States this morning. We actually turned back our clocks, unless of course you live in a few states. On the mainland, Arizona, where I reside today, we do not turn our clocks back. So this is the first time in my life where I am not moving a clock forward or back. I am just where I'm supposed to be. For the rest of you, I hope you got enough rest, and although you lost an hour I think you picked up an hour of sleep, so hopefully you're rested and you're doing well. For those of you that are here live, Carrie Rubel, wow, first time joining me on the live. Carrie and I met each other, actually, I believe he was a young boy and I was a counselor in training at CIT at a camp back in New York in the day, and he today is my Facebook friend. Cherie, good morning. Hey Cherie, by the way, I actually created your Choose Apparel t-shirt yesterday called Choose Prayer, and it actually motivated me. It actually brought me some clarity that we wanted to create a spiritual and religious collection, and that collection was launched this morning. So it's on chooseapparel.com, and I want to thank you for bringing that to my attention, and actually helped inspire me to create a new line today with Mary. So thank you for that, Cherie. Let's see, Judah, welcome to the live. Shaolin, good to see you. So today my topic that came to mind was actually I posted earlier the question of what's really important. Is it the journey or is it the destination? To me, the destination is, let's refer to it as the goal. And so this is a conversation. When I come on live, it's always a conversation. And so I invite you to hit like and love, ask some questions, or share your perspective on whatever it is that I am speaking about in a moment. So there's the question is it what's really most important? Is it the journey, getting to the destination or the goal, or is it the actual goal that counts the most? And for most of my life, for example, I always thought it was about the goal. And so my focus was always on the goal. And what I found would happen is, being that we're coming up towards the back end of the year, we're in the fourth quarter of the year, many of us start to begin to think about, either look at what New Year's resolutions did we achieve last year, or what ones do we want to set for the new year incoming. I know a little bit early in that thought process, but it is right around the corner. And so what many of us do is we go back and we dust off the New Year's resolutions that we set last year and realize that a lot of them we didn't make, a lot of them we didn't even start, and maybe a few of them we reached our goal. And here's what I've learned over my lifetime, is that setting goals is important, but it's not as important as the actual journey along the way, because through the journey we actually this is where the lessons come in. The lessons come in through the journey, through the process of working towards the goal. The lessons, a lot of times we ignore them and we miss them if our focus is so narrow-minded on just achieving the goal. And so I just love that today I have a greater understanding of, it's actually, for me today, it's less important if I even reach or meet the goal that I initially set. It's so much more important to really, as I'm working towards the goal, to take some, what I'll refer to as pauses or timeouts, and really assess my progress. How often do we take time to assess the progress that we are making? Because when we don't take the time to assess the little progress that we are making, we miss the opportunity to celebrate our growth. And so it's all really about the growth that takes place and unfolds along the process of reaching for that goal. And it's through the growth that we either choose to stay on course, and sometimes we choose to actually exit out of the original goal, or we shift our goal and change it because we realize as we're growing through the process that that original goal that we set isn't even so important. And sometimes it's okay to just exit out and acknowledge that, I got what I needed from this experience, and I've learned the lessons, or I've grown, or a combination of both. And so I love the process of understanding that it's less important if we reach the goal. It's more important that we assess the growth along the way, the journey. And for me, as I was in prayer and meditation, listening to my music that along my hike this morning in my spiritual practice, I was also going in a little deeper than just thinking about this topic, which was what's really behind us wanting to reach goals or meet goals. What's really the root behind that? And at least for some of us, it's about wanting to feel like we achieve something. It fills sometimes it's our ego and pride. I think a lot of the times it's our ego and pride. And what happens when we don't meet our goals, which a lot of us struggle with meeting our New Year's resolutions, and usually by the third month of the new year, a lot of us have disbanded or given up and put away our goals for the year. And what's behind that, I believe, is ego and pride. And when we realize that we have no shot at it because we really didn't set any steps or processes or tasks associated with those goals, we abort, we give up, we throw in a towel because it feels bad. And what's really behind feeling bad is it's like we've disappointed ourselves one more time. And what's behind that disappointment is ego and pride. And so here's another I call liquid gold moment. Is I believe it's less about achieving the goal. It's less about fueling whether or not we made the goal. It's more about the humility that comes from going through the process and understanding what have we learned, what are we learning from going through the process. And through the growth, through those learnings, we grow. And through the growth, we actually have the opportunity to learn more about ourselves, our true self, not our ego and pride, but who we are at our core, what we are truly made up of, how strong we are as individuals, how much work we have accomplished or how much more work we have to accomplish. Take another moment here just to do some quick check-ins. I'd like to say good morning to Lisa Dennis, Margaret Ellen Woodward. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Dristi, thank you for joining me. I know it's late overseas where you are coming in from. Kim, welcome. Good to see you. Dristi says, so true. Abdel, good morning. She says, thanks, Jay Rothman, for amazing lessons. Thank you so much, Abdel. And keep learning that English. You're doing great. With that, Anna. Good morning, Cynthia. Good morning and good evening. Yes, the sky is absolutely beautiful. I've got mountain ranges, little peaks in the far distance. I am at somewhat of a plateau here. I'm going to turn around. So I can continue to show you a little bit of what I experience every morning when I show up for myself. Do me a favor, please, and let me know where you're coming in from, what state or country, because I love to see where you are, where home is for you. And what I know is as long as we're here together and we show up, whether we show up in live or we show up on replay, we're right where we need to be. There's no early and there's no late. It's just on time. And so, going back to the topic of, is it the destination or is it the journey that is of most value to me and us? I invite you to really give some thought to that and realize that, along the way, for example, a lot of times we set a goal and we have the best intentions, and then what happens is life shows up. So, for example, let's use the example of a captain of a ship who's a professional, captain of let's say of a Navy ship or just of a cruise ship, a business and organization. They have a goal. They set a goal. They have a destination. They know they want to get from point A to point Z, and they map it out. They have a navigational system, a very expensive one, and they map it out and they kind of set their points, and they know they have a pretty good idea of, or they have an intention of, what their goal is and the process in which they're going to get there. And then they take off from the port, and they're on their route. And all of a sudden, they get a weather forecast, or the weather changes, and they realize that in that moment, they're going to have to shift course. They're going to have to change their strategy, because if they're going to try to stay on that same navigational, let's say, strategy, there's a really good chance that they're not going to make it, and they're going to risk putting a lot of lives on the line. And so they're paid to assess and realize that they have to be open-minded and be willing to change course. And in changing course, it means that it's either going to slow them down, it's going to delay the time that it takes to get into port. It may delay them by hours, it may delay them by a day or two. But what they realize is that changing course is the right decision, and they're open and flexible to that, because they realize in doing so, they're not going to put anyone's life at risk. And how many times do we set a goal for ourselves, and we're so narrow-minded in our thinking, and we set that course, and we believe that that is the only way to get there. And so no matter what gets in our way, we're going to barrel through it, and we're going to attempt to navigate our way to the port, or to the finish line, to the goal. And what I've learned over the past 3 years through my healing journey is it is so less important to stay narrow-minded and stay rigid in our thinking and that belief system that there's only one way to achieve our goal. And secondly, if we really look at the captain of that ship, how many lessons does he or she get to learn along the way? When things are going smooth and they've got that navigation course set, they probably have it on autopilot. But when the seas chop and the storm comes and they're in that perfect storm, I almost guarantee you they do not have that ship set to autopilot. They have their hands on the wheel, and they are navigating. They are having to make some very, very quick, fast decisions that are going to hopefully save lives. And through that experience, they probably got their sleeves rolled up, and they are sweating, and the beads of sweat are just permeating through their pores of their skin, and their underarms are wet, and they are in the moment, they're in the flow, and they're in the zone, and they are probably filled with some anxiety or some worry or fear, but maybe they're not even aware of that because they're just in the moment, and they are doing what they have to do to be open and willing to change course and make it through this perfect storm. And so there is where the liquid gold is this morning, is let's not be so rigid in our thinking and think that there's only one way to get there. And understand that getting there truly is not where the gifts and blessings come in. It's how we navigate there, and it's the lessons and growth that comes from along the way. It's less important that we reach the goal. It's so much more important that we have the awareness, the consciousness, the mindfulness of all of the lessons that come along the way. And here's where the gifts and blessings come in. And I just love this topic for that reason. I'm going to share one more example. Yesterday, we had our show, Debbie and I had our show, Real People, Real Stories Raw, scheduled with a guest, Emily Morton, who is a beautiful, beautiful woman today, and she's just doing a tremendous job of working through her traumas of her story and working on her healing process. And the three of us were excited. We prepared. We had our goal set. We had a time set. We had our show set. We prepared. We prepared to our best ability. We had a test time to do our studio check and test our mics and our cameras, and we were challenged with that, but we got through that, and we thought we were ready to go. 24 hours later, they're about to start the show, and as some of you may have caught the show on replay or live, we actually had some significant difficulties with Emily staying on the show. She kept getting taken out. And, for me, where the growth came in was, for me personally, was that in the past, I would have gotten very anxious in that moment. I would have felt like I had failed somehow, like I was responsible for the failure. I refer to it as the failure in that moment, that we couldn't get Emily to stay on the show. She was popping in and out. She kept getting taken out of the studio, and the seas became very choppy. And at some point, I had to make a decision, what do we do here? Do we continue with the show and extend it out longer, or do we just accept the fact that just for this moment, just for today, perhaps that today was not the day that Emily was supposed to come on and do the show in its totality, and it just meant that we had to be willing to change. We had to be willing to abort the goal and just shift. Just change our strategy and allow Debbie and I to just be in conversation and just create a safe, healthy conversation for each other. If and when Emily would pop back on, she was included, and the decision that was made between us was that we would have Emily come back another time. And for me, where the growth came in was this morning as I was in my prayer and spiritual practice of meditation and listening to music, which for me is therapy, and just being in awe of all that I experienced on this beautiful hike here, is that I was aware of how my behavior has changed. The fact that I did not go to anxiety, I did not go to feeling of failure, like somehow I screwed up, somehow I was responsible, somehow this was my fault. And here's the truth: is through that awareness, I felt I was able to come from a space of humility this morning and go, wow, what growth? What growth for myself, and probably an opportunity for growth for Emily and for Debbie to understand that, sometimes in life we do our best, and even when we do our best and we have the best intentions, the universe shows up, energy shows up, and we're not supposed to do something that we think we're supposed to be doing in that moment. And right there, it comes down to acceptance. Well, before acceptance, we have to first have the awareness. I refer to them as the 3 A's. The first one is awareness. That in this moment, it's not my fault. There's no blame. It just circumstances unfold, and how do we adjust? That's the awareness. It's like it's no one's fault, and how do we get through this without taking on an unhealthy emotion or mental emotion or feeling. And secondarily is once we have the awareness, is we go to acceptance. And the acceptance is okay, so it didn't work out exactly as we planned. We were so excited. Emily was so excited. Yet we can go to acceptance that just for today, this was not supposed to unfold. This was not the day that she was supposed to tell her full story. And here's the acceptance. And then the third A is the action. What do we do in this moment? Because we are alive, and we've got an audience, we've got the community, everyone's with us, and what do we do? And in that moment, the action was, wisdom came to me and was like, okay, it is what it is, and we can accept it, and all we got to do is just continue the conversation. Debbie and I are in a space, and we have value, we have things that we could share together, and just come from that space of kindness and love and humility, and close the show out together. And in the end, I watched the replay, and although it was in moments it was painful, the painfulness for me came from just feeling the sadness, and I was aware that it had to be causing some undue necessary stress and strain and anxiety for Emily. But even in that moment, what can I do? I can't rescue her, I can't save her, I can't control her feelings. I can just acknowledge her feelings. And when she did come back on, she actually said, I'm feeling anxiety right now. And for me, growth was, I didn't try to rescue her, I didn't try to save her. All I could do is just really acknowledge that I understand how you feel, and it's understandable, and it's okay. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, and just to acknowledge it, not to discredit someone else's feelings. And right there, it was a beautiful, intimate moment between Debbie and Emily and myself. And there's growth, for all of us. And intimacy, vulnerability, authenticity just unfolded in a moment. And maybe that's exactly what we were supposed to do yesterday. Maybe the show was to be more about coming from that space of empathy and compassion, coming from that space of just pure awareness of emotional feelings that Emily was feeling, and we were able to acknowledge it and just come from the kindness and love. And know that just for that moment, we are just okay where we're at. No judgment. We're in a no judgment zone. And so, it's just different today. Life is beautiful. We get hit with all kinds of unexpected events that unfold, even when we have our best intentions. And it's like we know life is going to show up. It's what we're going to do. It's what we're going to do when those moments arise. how we handle them, how we respond or not react, because reactionary is way more unhealthy. That causes us a lot of undue harm and others that surround us. And so, Cynthia, good morning again. Let's see who else is on. Just a quick check-in. Karen Fowler, good morning. Thanks for being here. Anna, Cynthia from New Jersey, welcome New Jersey. Margaret from Scotland, good to see you. Yes, Sharice says destination. Rachel says southeast of Tucson. Rachel, good to see you. Well, I'm in North Scottsdale. Maybe one of these days we could do a meetup. Let's do a meetup and let's do a hike, a bunch of us. I've probably got 4 or 5 people that can join us, and let's do a hike together. Let's do a healing hike. Anna from New Jersey. Desiree, good morning. Welcome to the show. Dawn Roberts, good to see you. Cordelia coming in from New Hampshire this morning. Annabelle, welcome to the show. Cynthia says, Jesus, take the wheel. Yes, I love that. Whether it be Jesus, if Jesus is not your higher power, that's okay. However we refer to it, whether it be God, Jesus, your higher power, we're all coming from the same space, a space of love and kindness. Jean Paul, welcome, good morning, good afternoon. Cynthia's from South Plainfield, I believe that's New Jersey. Adrian, good morning, good evening. Kimberly, welcome. Miles Kanyumjian coming in from New England. Good to see you. Good to see you, Miles. Thank you for being here. Meg, Tamara, Suzanne. Tamara, good to see you from McNeil, Arizona. Maybe we got to do a meetup. Let's do a meetup in Scottsdale or Phoenix, and let's do a hike. Maybe we do Echo Canyon. All of us, if you're physically up to it, we got to do a hike together. Jean Paul, Suzanne says, beautiful skies. Yes, 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 yes. Jack Potter, welcome to my live. Good to see you. Congratulations on baby number 2. Love to have a conversation with you sometime. And good to see you this morning. Please say good morning to your beautiful significant other and family members. And in any event, if you're picking up the live right now, I am in Scottsdale, Arizona at Pinnacle Peak. I'm wrapping up my spiritual practice. Today's topic was, what's most important? Is it the journey or is it the destination? And so there's the liquid gold for today. I am going to wrap up this hike so I can get the balance of my day going. We have our next show coming up, Real People, Real Stories, Raw, next Sunday at 3 o'clock. We have a beautiful guest who's going to be in the studio with us, and she's going to share her story of pain to what her healing journey looks like today. And so that's what I got. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Oh, I just want to say one last thing. You know, my day started before it even started. I got up early this morning. I did some work on shoes apparel, created the spiritual and religious line collection this morning. That is live. It's up and going. Yesterday we launched the yoga and meditation collection. And also I had a beautiful conversation. I did a video chat this morning with a beautiful man from India who's in our community here. I don't believe he's on live with us right now. He may be asleep or not. He may be here for all I know. But it was beautiful to have a video chat. We've been developing a relationship through private messenger for a number of months, and I said to him, you know what? I think it's time that we take our intimacy to the next level. I'd love to meet you on video. And so that's what we did. We had a video chat this morning for about 30 minutes, and you know, life is just different today. We've got people in this community from all over the world, all over. From yesterday on our show, we had a community member in from Belgium. Somebody was in from Australia, from Scotland, from India, all over international seas, some sea to signing sea, and from the U.S. as well. And you know, it's a beautiful space today that we all can come together and we all can share our experience, our strength, our hope, what we learned along the process of reaching our final destination. And it's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for joining me this morning, and we'll catch you next time live. Thanks. Bye-bye.